Distant ambitions turn dreams and then reality. Dandenong City is an NPL Victoria club. But as the bright lights of the First Division begin to dim, it's time to dust off the stardust and start picking up results, or they may find their stay cut much shorter than they would have anticipated. They're hosted tonight by NPL mainstays Hume City, whose ambitions must surely stretch beyond simple survival. They race out of the blocks this season, but a visit from the champions a fortnight ago and a trip to their predecessors a week later have halted their progression. 2 losses in their last 2 have left tonight's hosts in danger of dropping out of the top 6. So will Hume City get back on track, or will the new kids on the block from Dandenong get their season well and truly going? It's Friday Night Football and it's live on NPL Victoria across YouTube and Facebook. I'm joined by the senior editor of the Daily Football Show website and producer of the ever-growing podcast by the same name, Joel Frucci. How are you, Joel?
Yeah, going well, Bilal. It's good to be with you. It's a pretty good night for football, it has to be said. It's a bit muggy in the air, but the rain's stopped and the wind's died down a little bit, so it should make for a good contest. And, 2 teams that really need to get wins on the board for different reasons. Hume City to get back on track after a loss last week against Bentley Greens, and Dandenong City because, of course, they're 13th on the table and really struggling.
Yeah, let's run through the lineups for you at home. Ladies and gentlemen, Hume City starting with Michael wearing goals, Paul Wilson, Danny Dixon, Will Hendon, Harry Monahan's wearing the captain's armband today, James Brown, Ben Bowler, Stephen Hewitt, Theo Markellis, Matt Lazaridis and Brad Blumenthal starting up top. As for Dandenong City, Carl Kennedy starts in goal, Stephen Topalovic, Iqbal Jawadi, Zach Thompson, Sean Filipovic, James Kelly, Anthony Polyak, Liam Okoamak, Peter Franjic, Shan Alinajad and Jayden Omak. And now we'll observe a minute's silence for the events in Christchurch. Joel, it's been a rough week all around the world. Just a few events that were intended to spread people apart, but have actually brought people closer together.
Yeah, well, that's it. I mean, it's been the response to what happened over in Christchurch that I think has been really great. There's been some actual real hard action, which has been good. So credit to the New Zealand government and Jacinda Ardern, but also people around the world that have rallied in solidarity behind the Islamic community and really shown a unity, which has been good. And of course, it would have no doubt possibly shaken some people here at ABD Stadium. Of course, Hume City being of a club of traditionally Turkish background. So look, it's of course a tragic event, but what's come of it has been good.
And now we're on the way here at ABD Stadium. Ladies and gentlemen, nothing brings people together quite like football and sport in general. It's Dandenong City in the white who have kicked us off, shooting from left to right, and Hume City in the red from right to left. It'll be important here, Joel, for Hume City to set the agenda early as the home side.
Yeah, absolutely. And excuse me, when we were here earlier in the season, Bilal, in round 2, we watched them against Oakley Cannons, and that was a night where Hume City really did come out early and set the tempo. Of course, they were ahead after 3 minutes through Ersin Kaya. But they really need to because, as we know, they went down last week. They've had a pretty good season to date, it has to be said, but they kind of dropped off a little bit against a very good Bentley side. So they'll be eager to start early. and make the home advantage known against another team that, like Oakley a few weeks ago, have been struggling early in the season.
Now it's Hendon. It's got Hewitt in the middle, but ignores him. It's down the line to Brown. And Brown back to Hendon in an advanced position today. That's Marcellus. Back in the side this week. For those of you playing along at home, as that ball straight out of play, the outs for Hume City. Urson Kea, big out. Anyone who's seen him this season, he has been very, very influential. Gideon Sweet has dropped to the bench, and so has Umith Buzdawan coming in, Brad Blumenthal, and Teo Marcellus, and Ben Bowler.
Well, I'm particularly interested, Bill, to see what we're going to get from Theo Marcellus. Of course, he's someone that's been around NPL level for a little bit, and as we know, he's got that A-League experience with Melbourne Victory, so he can certainly offer a little bit, and on his day, he's very exciting. So I'm really looking forward to seeing what he can do in particular.
City have Iqbal Jawadi and Jaden Umak coming in, and Mark Ochiang and Luke Pilkington, the superstar Joel, have dropped out of the side.
Yeah, football superstar. But yeah, look, two interesting outs for Dandy City, and of course we saw them for viewers at home just warming up on or so we thought warming up just on the pitch behind us here at ABD Stadium. But yeah, just running laps. So really interesting. Perhaps they've maybe missed some training or weren't 100% fit during the week.
Yeah, it was a bit bizarre that they were warming up right up to the kickoff as well. Just didn't go back inside with the rest of the team as well. So. Maybe just a statement from the coach there. As Monaghan picks it up in the middle of the park, goes to Marcellus. Lofted ball to Hendon. Normally operates in that right back position, but is, at least from early signs, appears to be operating in a front three. Marcellus hustles and harries, and Hewitt is penalised.
Can see as well, just from that coming together there, that a bit of water came up off the pitch. So I wonder if that will affect the game at all. I'm sure it will probably slow the ball down in some parts if it really kind of gets bogged. And speaking of the sort of the I suppose the outer skirts of the pitch and on the one just behind us, there were some very heavy patches. You could really hear the puddles in the pitch. I mean, it's drained fairly well. It's looking like a pretty pristine pitch, it has to be said, and it usually is pretty good here. But yeah, certainly that could potentially have an effect on balls played in behind.
Rain stopped here at ABD about 30 minutes before kickoff. So just enough time for the pitch to absorb. Very well looked after pitch as well here at ABD. Now Hendon gives chase, manages to keep it in. Now Hewitt presents just inside the circle. Now it is Stephen Hewitt. Theo Marcellus. Scott Lazaridis on the outside. It's still Marcellus. No appeals for a penalty, corner given.
Great run by Theo Marcellus. I thought for sure he was going to use Matt Lazaridis on the left-hand side, and I was almost just waiting for him to play that pass. But to his credit, he backed himself in, confident, and good little sider here for Hume City.
And Marcellus had a few touches of the ball so far, just getting himself warmed up. Now Hume City with an opportunity to threaten from the corner, left-hand side. Stephen Hewitt to take. Bit of a delay, but then the corner's taken, and a glancing header over the bar.
Yeah, good attempt, and little warning sign there, I suppose, for Dandy City early, but nothing to write home about in the end.
Ooh, and a clash there. Blumenthal winning the ball fairly cleanly, says the referee. Now Hume City all the way back to their back four. Or it appears to be a back four. Turning into a back three with possession, actually, Joel, because Lazaridis the left back and Will Hendon the right back playing very, very far up the field.
Yeah, well, even Ben Bella just picked up possession there. And I mean, there's a few players dropping back deep for Hume City, but you're right, when they've got the ball, and we saw them actually do that earlier in the season when we watched them against Oakley, and it seemed to be fairly effective. Back three in possession, back four out of possession, and of course they fairly restricted them on that night, albeit the Cannons, of course, are struggling down at the bottom.
Yeah, things haven't been great for Oakley so far this season, but still early days, just round 6. So a lot of the season left to play as Dandenong City will take encouragement in as well. Only 3 points picked up so far this season. Interestingly enough, Joel, these sides have never actually played in a competitive game, at least as long as records have been taken.
Oh, yeah, first time for everything, I guess. But yeah, I mean, I tell you what, certainly for first impressions, it is it is a very, very important game between the two. And look, I'm actually really looking forward to what Dandy City can produce. Obviously, there was they made a couple of good signings after they came up. Yeah, I mean, like, just to obviously throw some names like Diogo Ferreira and Petar Franjic, and of course the two guys that aren't there, Mark Otching and Luke Pilkington. I mean, those are pretty exciting names for this level. Clearly, it hasn't quite worked out for them, and I guess it's been interesting because it's been a bit of a trend in the NPL this season. I mean, who would have thought that Oakley, with Chris Taylor in charge and Miller Slewich leading the line, that they'd be rock bottom of the table at this point?
You could probably hear Nick Hegarty, the Hume manager, just yelling instructions there, asking his side not to commit too many men forward, as Stephen Hewitt now has an opportunity to take an outswinging corner. Second of the game. Oh, and that's a decent effort, and the follow-up! 1-0 Hume! Ben Bowler with the opener.
Such poor defending from Dandy City. A free header at the near post for Theo Marcalis. Well saved in the end by Kyle Kennedy, but fairly easy follow-in for Ben Bowler. So not the start that Dandy City would have been after, and well and truly against it already, Bill.
The home side asserting their dominance early in this one. Hume City, as they did against Oakley in round 2, in their last home victory, scoring very early on.
That is what you want, though. If you're a guy in Ben Bowler's shoes, of course, into the team and scoring a goal. It's exactly what you want. I suppose with 3 changes, you're always looking to press your claim, particularly in a team that at the moment is obviously mid-table, like Hume City, and you can sort of envisage some changes. You want to take every chance you can get.
Interesting opportunity as well for the likes of Brad Blumenthal leading the line today in the absence of Mitch Cooper. And Marcalis, of course, getting his start as well. So, as you mentioned, Joel, a few players will be out to impress today. Here's Monaghan. Hendon now on the far right. That's a wonderful chip ball to James Brown, who's managed to evade a couple of players on. Inches away from an own goal. Almost disaster for Dandenong.
Wow, how that didn't go in from here. I mean, certainly we thought it was in for all money, but geez, Dandenong City really playing with fire at the back early doors. Certainly not doing a lot of convincing with their defending there, Bill.
Hume City very much on the prowl now. Already their 3rd corner of the game. And we know what happened the last time they had a set piece from this position. It's a decent ball whipped in again, and a bit unconvincing but it's out nonetheless. Lazaridis, now it's cleared.
With Urson Kaya and also Mitch Cooper out of this Hume City team, James Brown, he's the one they've got to watch. He scored 4 goals this season, so really no excuse for leaving him alone like they did there, even though this one, of course, is, as we've seen, is flown over the bar.
Almost on cue there, James Brown, with an effort on goal. Fairly convincingly cleared there. Dandenong will be desperate now for just a sustained period of possession, just to quieten this Hume side down.
Yeah, they just need to settle things down a bit. So obviously the run of play is well and truly with Hume City at the moment, so they could do with just a bit of a prolonged spell of possession. Don't rush things, just hang on to the ball in some deep positions.
And Weah will claim that quite comfortably, and the options dispersed now. Dixon. Lazaridis. Goal scorer now. Out to Hendon. And again now we see that back 4 transition into a back 3. Lazaridis. Left wing back now. Markellis. Hewitt. Nicely spread out to Hendon. But Hendon loses possession on the far side. And now City have men over, but Monaghan stops that attack in its tracks, and calls for a yellow card are ignored by the referee.
Yeah, probably the right call from the referee. It wasn't an overly cynical foul, I don't think. And look, it is still early in the game, so while you want to see the referee setting the tone by way of authority, you don't necessarily want to see the cards come out too early, Bilal, for fouls like that and be really, really card happy. That's exactly what we don't want to see.
Now clear towards Blumenthal. Not convincingly cleared whatsoever. Now Hewitt on the near side, sorry. Brown now with an opportunity to run into the box. Markellis not going to make it to him. And Hume doing a pretty good job of, when they don't have the ball, when they lose the ball up the field, of just squeezing their opponents and forcing those errors.
Yeah, and look, in that instance, it was a fairly sloppy error from Zach Thompson. That was a pretty simple pass, and in that kind of area, you don't want to give it away too many times. It's sort of right in the sweet spot, if you like, to really build some momentum going forward for an attack.
Now Weah has the ball to deal with, but he does so fairly convincingly. Monaghan plays a 1-2 with Dixon. And it's Ben Bowler who's dropping into that third defensive position. It's Monaghan in this instance, but most commonly is Bowler, and he seems fairly comfortable playing in that middle of the back 3 when they have the ball.
Yeah, he does, and look, like we say before, taking your chances. Theo Markellis coming up quite high there as well. But yeah, you're right, and last time I had a really good look at this Hume City team. It was Harry Monaghan coming up and collecting the ball, but it seems to be working for them so far. So in that respect, and of course, you don't want to fix something that's not broken. Is Dandy City launched a counter here?
Here's an opportunity now. On the left flank, they've got men over again. but unable to make Hume pay for their sloppiness.
Yeah, the skipper, Sean Filipovic, probably just dallied a little bit too long there. Had a couple of options, and in the end, it was neither here nor there. Not quite the cross, not quite the shot. Probably in the end, Bella, probably better off having a crack at goal from there. And really, even if it goes wide or if it's a fairly tame effort in the end, just testing the palms of Michael Weir. He hasn't had a whole lot to do so far, barring collecting a couple of back passes, really.
The gloves have remained clean thus far. Something that Dandenong will be hoping to change. Some cleaning up to do here for Hume now. And it's Blumenthal who's come pretty deep, but is adjudged to have committed a foul in trying to protect the ball. It's Umak now. A decent interception there from Lazaridis. Blumenthal's the victim this time, and is the yellow card coming out, or no, the referee's just having a word. Steven Topolovic was the culprit there. Hewitt now in a left back position. That's a very nice ball to Hendon, who's taken it down well. James Brown presents, but he doesn't go to him. Oh, it's a meaty challenge, but referee says ball first. Now Lazaridis trying to get into a threatening position, goes back to Markellis, it goes all the way back to Dixon. Markellis. Hendon now. Thank you for joining us, ladies and gentlemen, on this NPL Victoria live stream on Facebook and YouTube. Let us know wherever you're tuning in from. Monahan. Game slowed down just a little in the last couple of minutes, which, barring an actual attack, is possibly the best result for Dandenong.
Yeah, a little bit of a lull in proceedings, and you're right, it probably does suit them. We said that they needed to sort of slow things down a little bit. I think certainly ideally for them, they would rather have probably had a little bit more possession, Dandy City, but they've been able to hold the fort down. I've been really impressed by Hewitt and Will Hendon as well. Will Hendon on that right-hand side has been quite dangerous, and that touch before to bring down that ball across the pitch, a good 50 metres. Lovely touch, and he's done that a couple of times. Impressive.
Pogba-esque, that pass from Hewitt. The referee now having a word.
James Kelly certainly was not happy with that one. Apologies for any viewers at home that could hear that. Any kids in cars?
Yeah, not the best, but referee just told him off, said won't tolerate any more of that. Now Monahan, who has dropped now into that deepest midfield position. Got Lazaridis far side. Opts to go to Bowler first. Whose pass is wayward. And again, that high pressing tactic from Hume very much paying off. Now Hewitt with another chance to spray the pass and plays a quick 1-2 with Markellis. And again, and Bowler now. Hume picking up the pace. Bowler fended off with relative ease there, and referee says bring her back. No advantage.
Yeah, good refereeing. Let the play go. That's exactly what we want to see. Let it develop, see if anything eventuates. And as we saw in the end, nothing there for Dandy City. Hopefully we see more of that.
Oh, it's a nice ball there for Brad Blumenthal. Keeper comes to meet. Big decision here for the referee, who decides to just wait for the linesman's decision, and goal kick's given.
Yeah, that's the right call. That was great goalkeeping by Cole Kennedy. Really came out and closed the angle on Theo Markellis, and in the end made the save. And of course, in the end, won the goal kick by deflecting it back off the winger.
Goalkeepers always encouraged to be on their toes for instances such as those. Citing my experience at the lowest possible level. Alinejad's pass there it's quite neat, but Michael Ware demonstrating that he too can play that sweeping role.
And I think what's important as well, Bilal, is in every instance you want your goalkeeper to back himself or herself, whether it's coming out at a corner and collecting, or really shutting down an angle on a through ball. You always want to see a confident keeper. It tends to radiate throughout the rest of the team.
And a corner now for Dandenong, and this should at least relieve the pressure.
Well, very sloppy error from Dan Dixon there. I mean, that's not what Hume City want. Real gift for Dandy City, but that is the danger for Hume. I mean, they've been right on top. Dandy City haven't made a whole lot of forays forward, haven't kept a lot of possession. And how often do we see it, Bilal, when those dominant teams, all it can take is one error at the back or in midfield, and all of a sudden all their work can be undone.
Now corner's taken. Oh, if you rise, and another corner's given. Not far away there from what we now know would have been an own goal.
Geez, hardy mouse stuff for Hume there. And well, these are really important moments for Dandy City because they haven't had much of the play. These set pieces, they're the ones you need to maximise.
Here's an opportunity again to threaten. Oh, and it was a nice enough ball, but just the contact was poor at best. Here's another chance now from the opposite flank.
Yeah, and Petafranich as well. He had a really good run at that ball, and in the end just didn't make the contact and deflected behind. But third opportunity, maybe third time lucky.
And McCormack's now switched to the other side. Now we'll have the opportunity to take an in-swinging corner. It's another good delivery, and Michael Ware there, as you cited earlier, Joel, comes out and tells his defence not to worry. And now could there be an opportunity here for the counter-attack? Brad Blumenthal's just straight offside, so the pass couldn't quite go out to him. But now here comes Bowler. On onside is Brown. 2-0 chance. James Brown. Yet another goal for the marquee midfielder.
5 goals for James Brown, and what a ball from Ben Bowler. That was a sensational pass through the middle, and I mean, momentarily there, I thought the chance was gone when they failed to play Brad Blumenthal through on halfway. There was a real chance there while he remained in his own half. Didn't quite receive the ball, but in the end they got there. Ben Bowler, he's having a tremendous game so far, a goal and an assist.
James Brown, who's played every game, started 4 of the 5 before this, 425 minutes played, and Ben Bowler played the 428. So 2 key men for Hume linking up for that goal.
Fair to say that Ben Bowler won't be losing his place next week. He's had a very good game indeed, and interestingly, first goal scorer for the season outside of Brown, Kea and Cooper, who have been obviously the big 3 to look out for Hume.
And those stats are courtesy of Chris Gleeson and Damir Kulash, or should I say Damir Encyclopedia of Football Kulash, the dream team there providing those goods.
Yeah, thanks lads. Much appreciated indeed.
Not going to claim them as our own. Received a document earlier, Joel, titled The Football Bible. Oh, was it the NPL Bible? So there you go.
Yeah, NPL Bible by title, and indeed it is. Every fact from the season that you could hope to have being in our shoes.
Dandenong City now with a hill to climb at ABD, staring down the barrel of a 5th defeat of the season. Not what you want if you're the side in white here today. It'll be a long drive back to Dandenong if the result stays the same, but they're desperate for things to start turning their way, and Brown just mussed off the ball there. Here's an opportunity, but it's cleared before anything could really eventuate. And Alinejad does well there. A couple of body feints. Ball into the middle is dangerous, but again, no decent contact.
Yeah, well, Thompson probably could have made more of that. I think he made the wrong decision there. Probably should have tried to hold the ball up in that position. It was a decent little ball in. Yeah, look, interesting spell for Hume City this. They say 2-0 is the most dangerous scoreline in football, and I was out at Avondale versus Pascoe Vale last week, and Avondale went 2-0 up, and basically 45 seconds later, Bilal, it was back to 2-1. They simply fell asleep, switched off, and in went Davy Van Schip for a cute chip finish over the top. So it's looks like they've passed that test for the time being, indeed. Yeah, but you don't want to switch off in those situations.
Don't get me started on that whole debate about what's the most dangerous scoreline.
Yeah, look, I don't think it's 2-0, but I think maybe being 2-0 down is...
Here's a shout. Sorry to interrupt there, Joel. Appeals for a foul just outside the box there, but corner kick's given.
Yeah, I think there's a few worse scorelines, Bilal, than maybe being 2-0 up. I think
probably being 2-0 down.
Yeah, 2-0 down, or 3 or 4 or 5 or 6, you know.
Probably think Dandenong City would bite your arm off for being 2-0 up if you offered that to them right about now. Things could potentially get bad to worse now as Stephen Hewitt ever so meticulously puts the ball down for the in-swinging corner. That time the keeper does come out and command his area, and potential counter-attack here. It's chased all the way down, but Ware cleans up. Hewitt now looking to swing the ball into a dangerous area, and again, it's good goalkeeping by Kennedy. And Alinejad now.
Yeah, good couple of punches there for Kennedy. That first corner was in an awkward position and surrounded by defenders and taking no chances there. It was in the end no one really there for Hume, but he wasn't to know that, taking no chances.
Frustration just starting to seep in there. Audible frustration from the Dandenong City side. And Bowler leaves a little on his opponent, but fairly cleanly there claims possession. Now Markellis, who we saw start out on the left, has drifted here, there and everywhere. Is ignored there by Lazaridis. Now Lazaridis unmarked out here on the left-hand side, but haven't gone out to him just yet. That option's still open for Hume, but now they've picked him up, the City defence. Now it's Hewitt. Not a goal or assist to his name so far, Hewitt, but has played ever so well in that Hume midfield.
Yeah, he's been dangerous. And to touch on Theo Marcalis as well, it's pretty clear that he's been given licence to roam by Nick Hegarty, picking the ball up across the pitch, as you say, Bilal. We've even seen him come back to the back four and pick possession up. It's that's, I mean, we see that really everywhere. The best midfielders, box to box midfielders, come and pick the ball up deep.
Quite possibly one of the biggest advantages of that back three, that the midfielders and forwards can be a bit more fluid. Now it's Hewitt. Oh, and the effort from Bowler. And Blumenthal's slight budge goes unpunished.
Always worth a try from long range, and why not when you're feeling confident, like no doubt Ben Bowler is. Of course, as we know, it has been wet. The rain stopped, but there is still some water on the ground. So there's nothing wrong with having a pop from long range and really seeing how the goalkeeper reacts or deals with that wet ball.
It's the kind of effort you go for when things are going your way, isn't it, Joel?
Yeah, of course. Why not? And foul here.
Opportunity here for Hewitt now to possibly weave his magic. It's important now for Dandenong not to get too frustrated. Still in the game. 2-0, even if they go into half-time with that scoreline, isn't the worst case scenario. And now Hewitt trying to possibly bring about that worst case scenario. Won't do it with set pieces such as those, but now here's the effort. Oh, it's a bit too ambitious there.
Yeah, fairly routine in the end for Kennedy, but it had an interesting trajectory, that effort from Theo Marcalis. It died off just in front of the goalkeeper, and like we say, with that wet pill, you never know, what's going to happen. In the end, he dealt with it well.
And normally you don't want your shots to bounce before they get to the keeper, but with a surface like this, you just never know where that bounce will go, and Kennedy does well there to use his head, because of course he was outside of his penalty area. James Brown playing in a fairly advanced role now. Probably the furthest forward with Marcalis and Blumenthal.
Well, James Brown, it's interesting. He hasn't really been overly involved, I don't think. But he's made his chance count. I mean, it was a very cool finish to get the goal, and that's what they've got him here for, to create and to score goals. And now he's got 5, so they're certainly getting the return on the investment. I mean, Ben Bowler has been really the man for Hume City. He's been absolutely brilliant in this first half.
Now here is Lazaridis. Hume, of course, without a win in their last 2 games. And here's a chance now for Hewitt. Oh, and that snuck in somehow. Whether it be an error from Kennedy or just genius from Hewitt, it is 3-0 for Hume.
Looked to have just snuck between the legs of Cole Kennedy there, and I guess you'd probably have to put it down as a mistake. I mean, it was from relatively close range, but I mean, they're the ones that you'd expect the goalkeeper just to simply put his body behind. I mean, it was straight at him. So, and look, I mean, Dandy City now, Bilal, found themselves in that worst case scenario that we spoke of. We're approaching half time, and they found themselves 3-0 down. And if heads weren't already dropped going into the sheds, they certainly will now. So it's going to be a very big test for Zelko Kuzman at the break now to really rally his troops.
Stephen Hewitt, who we were mentioning, hadn't yet registered a goal or assist this game. Matt has now. So some physical evidence for his great performance. And now here's Brown. Unable to make the Dandenong defence pay for their negligence there.
I thought that actually may have been worth a shot on goal from James Brown.
And a nice back heel from the referee there. Hewitt trying to profit.
Yeah, like I was saying, I actually thought that earlier chance may have been worth a shot for James Brown. I mean, Cole Kennedy was out of position, so I think certainly, and with the wet ground as well, if he hits that across the goalkeeper, there's a fair chance he's really going to test him.
Yeah, not a bad shout. They're all, and that's not the sound you want to hear when studs collide.
That was a very, very heavy tackle indeed. Luckily no one hurt there, but I think that's about right. A foul given, but no yellow card.
Dandenong will be desperate for a goal here before the break. Get themselves back into the tie, into the game, and just lift confidence. Hume fans right behind that little tussle, not happy. Now here's Dixon. Monahan. It's not Joel yawning you're hearing, that's a plane just going overhead. No reason to yawn here as Hume come on the trot again.
Yeah, I think that was the 10 p.m. from Dubai that you just saw coming over the top. But yeah, corner here for Hume, and well, the chances are really mounting up now, and well, they've got to be careful here, Dandy City. I mean, I think it's almost realistic to say that the game is probably just about over. But if they go into the sheds at 4-0 down, I think we can say that with a fair degree of certainty.
And now Hume looking to bury the result now, and won't do so with a foul in the penalty area. High foot there from Bella, penalised. And just under 5 minutes of play now for Hume to keep the Dandenong side as far away from their goal as possible. And for Dandenong, it's now a case of damage control, and there's going to be a yellow card, our first of the game here for Lazaridis.
Probably a bit unnecessary in the end. I think there were a couple of men there to potentially come across and cover, but I mean, 3-0 up, yellow card is probably not what you want to get. I wonder if approaching half-time, if after the interval, Dandy City actually consider some changes at the break, and more than one change. Because, of course, they are 3-0 down, but a chance here.
An opportunity spurned there as the final pass just lacking there. It's been interesting because a couple of times the final pass has been good and the finish has been poor, and on other instances the final pass has just been missing. So it's been a mixed bag for Dandenong so far in this game.
Good little spell for them here, though. A couple of fouls, and this one's in a decent position if they can get the right ball in the box. And of course, set pieces being in the position that they're in, they haven't had a lot of opportunities. Dandy City, they really need to make something of these.
They've packed the box here, Dandenong. Only 3 outside of it, and it's a claim now. And here's a chance for a counter now. Hewitt with a nice pass. Marcellus here with an opportunity, but Alinejad's too strong. Marcellus plays Bowler. Hewitt now with a chance to cut inside. Instead goes to Blumenthal. Brad Blumenthal. Can he get in on the act? He sure can. 4-0 Hume.
Wonderful bit of skill from Brad Blumenthal. Just held onto the ball, found the little opening, and well, it's floodgate stuff now for Dandy City. They probably didn't quite press high enough there. I thought Alinejad had done enough to fend off the threat with Theo Marcellus going forward, but well, geez, this really does create a situation for Kuzmin. It's going to be fascinating to see what he does at half-time at 4-0 down. This is fairly calamitous.
Three minutes of injury time about to be displayed from the fourth official. Just being prepared beneath us here. Night just gets from bad to worse for City. Or Dandenong City, that is. Night is absolutely wonderful for Hume.
So I think we've seen as many planes as goals. This is terrific. Another one coming over here right now.
Not a bad result whenever you're at ABD. You get about 7 a game, so hopefully we get that many goals.
Interesting, Bilal, that there's no drones flying about tonight. So I wonder if the air traffic control people have had something to say about that.
Oh, and a decent effort there. Goal kick's given. I thought Michael Weyer might have gotten a hand on it. And it was Filipovic, the man with the captain's armband, who tried to rally the troops with a goal there, but unsuccessful.
Yeah, in the end, unsuccessful. But look, it was worth a go. I mean, going into half time in injury time, you may as well have a crack in that position and just try and make something from nothing. It's really a dire situation for Dandy City, as we know, at 4-0 down, and all you can really do as a captain is just do something and try and really pull something out of the fire to give your team a chance to go into the break with something with.
Hendon. Hume now inviting the pressure, maybe looking for that ball over the top. Now here is Hewitt. If anyone can provide that ball, it's him. Hewitt. Now it's Bowler. Now Brown finds himself in some space. Ball's just too far ahead of him, and that's going to be a free kick. And fairly dangerous position when you have someone with the set-piece talents of Stephen Hewitt in your side. And 3 minutes of injury time have just gone up, ladies and gentlemen. Joel can't stop looking to the skies, just trying to see if a plane's going to come and maybe signal a goal.
Well, the planes are very distracting. I remember one FFA Cup game that was played here, and I remember Simon Hill talking about the number of planes that were coming over. And well, now I know what he's talking about. I don't think we saw quite the number when we were here to see Hume versus Oakley, but yeah, gee, it's quite the fleet that's coming in at the moment.
The fleet, interesting choice of word there. Maybe you should have asked Simon just how he dealt with the cold of ABD, especially FFA Cup time. Round of 16s or whenever it was. Although by the time he gets to the semi-finals, does get quite warm.
Yeah, round of 32 stuff though is freezing. It really is. You need to really rug up, especially if you're coming to one of these suburban grounds like ABD or like Olympic Village, etc., etc.
Yeah, for those of you who don't know, we are very high up at the moment. Not quite on the highest level.
I think the worst one below is probably Lakeside because you get a bit of sea breeze and you got Albert Park Lake there. It can get very cold at that place.
I'd have to agree. Lakeside is extremely cold, but oh, here's a nice effort. It started rising, but just never dipped.
Yeah, well, again, James Kelly just trying to make something happen, and look at this point, you've almost got no choice if you're Dandy City. Just have a crack, try to give something positive for the team to get into the dressing room with and try to work with it. I just hope there were no cars getting hit by that ball.
Probably threatening more drivers than goalkeepers, that one. Thank you to all of us who have, sorry, to all of you, not to me, who've got in touch on the Facebook page. It's a nice ball to almost release Mark Ellis. I just misjudged it. Alinajad will clean up. Left back wearing number 7. Not sure how I feel about that. As a supporter of the Reds from Manchester.
Not quite traditional. I remember a certain Daniel McBreen up at A-League level with Central Coast Mariners, a striker wearing number 2, and I've asked him many a time what was going on there, and I don't know, he just seemed to rate it as the halftime whistle blows.
As the halftime whistle blows and relieves us of our duties, just as we started getting a little off topic, it is Hume City who have dominated this first half. Goals from James Brown, Ben Dixon, Brad Blumenthal, and Stephen Hewitt. It is Hume City 4, Dandenong City. It's going to be a bleak half-time for the citizens from Dandenong, and for Hume City, a bit of a party atmosphere, but they'll have to keep their nerves for the second half, Joel.
Yeah, I think for Hume City now it'll just be about keeping their nerve and probably looking for that clean sheet and getting a 4-0 scoreline or potentially 5 or 6, but making sure they're nice and tight at the back and they keep dominating the game. But it's a case of where to here from Dandy City. Potentially all about damage control. I mean, they've been very open at the back. So if I was in the shoes of their manager, some very nice shoes actually, it has to be said. So a nice pair of loafers. They do need to really find something because it was a very, very poor first half indeed.
All right, Joel, I'll let you do some online shopping and I'll maybe have a snack or two and we'll catch up with you guys in about 15 minutes. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to this NPL Victoria coverage of Hume City versus Dandenong City. A couple of changes here. Greg Lombardo and Diego Ferreira coming on, for Dandenong City. Joel?
Yeah, interesting. I mean, we sort of alluded to the fact that they would probably have to turn to their bench fairly early at 4-0 down, as you do. But a bit of an experience injection into midfield in Diogo Ferreira. He's someone that's really been around the traps. So I wonder what he can add. Potentially just a cool head to sort of maybe hold things up through midfield, which is something that Dandy City really struggled to do in the first half. Looks like it was Jaden Ulmark and Lee McCormack that came off for our viewers at home.
And for me, thank you very much, Joel. I only saw the second number, so this is very, very informative. It's hard when there are subs at half time and you don't have the graphics to let you know who's come off. I was about to count, just do a body count and see who's here. Now Linajad now. Now, Dandenong City come out in the second half with some new authority about them, just bossing the play and saying, look, let's not worry about the scoreline and just play as if it is still 0-0.
Yeah, there's a bit of aggression there, which is good to see. I mean, they can't play within themselves anymore at 4-0 down. They really just need to come out, show something, do something a little bit different. Interesting note about Diogo Ferreira. I spoke to Perth Glory CEO Tony Pinata today, of course, one of his former clubs. I believe that Diogo Ferreira was actually working closely with Bruno Fornaroli to get him up to scratch in terms of fitness.
Wasn't a bad effort there from Brown, but it's interesting insight and intel that you've brought to the fore there, Joel. Melbourne City fans won't be thanking him whatsoever because he's jumped ship and now he's in purple.
Yeah, definitely not. And Diogo, I think, has started up his own coaching business, which I believe is a kind of a blend of fitness and football, if you like. It's one of those kind of hybrid sort of programs. So it was interesting that Bruno employed that Diogo system. So I wonder if that'll have an effect at Perth Glory, because of course he hasn't played since November. I won't play a competitive game until October. So it's basically 11 months out of professional football for him.
It's interesting that you mentioned that because fitness and football training is exactly what I need, so.
So say all of us, mate.
Oh, it's a good challenge there by Hewitt. Shows you can do the dirty side of the game as well, the tackling. And here's a chance. If it's not offside, Blumenthal with an opportunity. Side netting. A very strange sequence of events there. I was trying to work out if it was a penalty, offside, or if he was going to score all at once.
Yeah, well, real hard in mouth moment there for Cole Kennedy. I mean, if he gets that wrong, then he's surely off. But yeah, look, disappointing that Brad Blumenthal couldn't go on with that one. I thought for all money that he'd scored. Of course, he had an open net, but it was probably the right move for him to take that on. There were a couple of Hume players getting back there. Oh, sorry, Dandy City players, I should say.
Very, very close to 5-0 there, and Hume undoing all of Dandenong's good work at the start of this second period. Now Hume have started this half very slowly. Will be looking to hold on to possession for an extended period of time now. It'll be interesting to see Will Hendon now on this near side. Get a good look at him because he was very, very good in that first half, Joel.
Yeah, he was very effective. I don't think he was quite best of field, but I think Ben Bowler was that person. But yeah, look, he was impressive. Noted one really good kill on the opposite side of the pitch that he was able to bring down and maraud forward, put in a ball. He was good. He looked impressive. So yeah, very, very eager to get a look at him here. But yeah, the challenge for Hume City will no doubt be to sort of start things off as they left off, hold the ball, really frustrate Dandy City as well, because we saw in the first couple of minutes of this half there was a good bit of intent from Dandy City, which is exactly what they need. But if Hume City can frustrate them, then you wonder how long they can keep that up for.
Now it's crucial that the Hume City fans don't quieten down too much, just to spur their team on. Oh, and there's a bit of a mix-up here, but it's only ended up with the ball in midfield now, and here's an opportunity for City. Now, should be cleared quite comfortably.
Looks like Dandy City in a back three as well, so perhaps a bit of aggression to really sort of go for broke, if you like, and try and find some goals. I guess it is interesting because certainly if Hume City can find one or two more, Bilal probably looks, I suppose, a little bit suspect. But we've seen from various teams across both A-League and NPL in their respective campaigns that when the back threes do work, they work very well indeed. Just look at Perth Glory.
How early? Here's a question for you, Joel. Do you think Dandenong would actually have to score in this second half to stand a chance of a quite miraculous comeback as Umut Buzdowan now prepares to come on for Hume City?
Oh, immediately. I think the simple answer. I think when you're 4-0 down, I mean it's. I think 3-0 is certainly surmountable, but when you get to 4-0, I think that's kind of looking at Mount Everest straight in the face. So, look, I think if they're going to get back into the game and really put the worries through Hume City, I mean they need to find a goal straight away. I think you could probably give them about 5 minutes, if that.
Now, Buzdowan coming on for the man with the armband, or no longer has the armband, Harry Monahan. That honour's been passed on to the goalkeeper, Michael Ware. Interesting decision to bring off Monahan. Is very much the general in that midfield.
Yeah, potentially a bit of preservation with the 4-0 scoreline. Doesn't look sort of too pleased to be coming off Harry Monahan. A little shake of the head and some high fives with the managers. But I think all things considered, I think it's probably fair enough to put him in cotton wool.
Yeah, having interviewed Harry a couple of times last season, he just wants to play. He's got that Scottish hardness about him. It's definitely got the accent, but he's got the hardness of a man who never wants to stop playing. And advantage played, Blumenthal could be in here, but it all comes to nothing for Hume. Now here is Will Hendon playing in that right wing back position. Back to Buzdowan, who's got to be absolutely keen to get in on the action here. Dixon.
Just an update on Harry Monahan as well from our position that he's getting a bit of ice on the sort of mid-back area, so potentially that has something to do with his substitution. But like we say, perhaps, hopefully, just a precaution.
Yeah, he didn't look too troubled by it, but what I'd say is the referee now brings out the yellow card. It's calling someone over. It's finding it a little difficult to spot just who had his name taken down there, but we'll bring that to you shortly when Joel figures it out.
I think from long distance I could spot a number 19, so I believe that to be James Kelly. So it was quite a way off the ball. So and it was fairly innocuous as well. So I suppose the suggestion, the assumption, and never assume, of course, but would probably have to be a case of perhaps dissent for a yellow card.
Now Hewitt. It's a good ball, but collected fairly comfortably there. And now the release was blocked, and that I thought might have been a second yellow in about 5 seconds, but it's escaped without caution there.
I think if it was dissent, clearly not an extreme case of dissent. Otherwise, we probably would have seen red in that instance. But I think certainly I like the approach now of football fans, media, referees, administrators, that I guess a stance is being taken on dissent. We need to see that stamped out, because the reality is we don't have football matches without officials. There's another plane just completely goes over and, just abrasive to the conversation. Good chance here for Dandy City, though. I'll throw back to you, Bilal.
And now here's Alinejad, and wasn't able to get a shot away. Maintains possession. And City just about exhausted that 5-minute time frame that you've given them to score that first of 4 goals. And very good feet from a City winger there, but then ended up with the ball hitting his face. Story of their game so far, Dandenong. And here's Bauer, but it's turned it over. Very sloppy. Here's a chance for Dandenong, but nothing doing.
And that sequence probably about summed up their game. Bilal, the deflection off Topalovic didn't quite go out for the corner, came straight off him, and then James Kelly there couldn't quite get through.
Ooh, and there's a chance. Quite possibly the best of the game, falling to Anthony Poliak. Just wasn't able to get a toenail onto that one. Any touch there probably would have beaten Michael Wow.
Yeah, you think so, and look, I mean, those are the ones that you'd hope your leading scorer, Anthony Poliak, would get on the end of. He scored 3 of Dandy City's 4 goals this season, so I think that was probably the opportunity. And we talk of timeframes, Bilal, about getting back into the game. I think it's well and truly gone now. I think if there was any glimmer of hope, if the door was slightly ajar, I think it's been well and truly slammed shut, locked, padlocked by Hume City now.
Just heard a shout from the Hume bench. We have to win this second half, so that gives you the gives you a picture of what their intent is in this second 45. Not to just hold on to that 4-0 cushion that they have.
Interesting as well, Bilal, just looking at the scores from around the grounds, potentially big implications now for Dandy City, because Oakley Cannon's currently 1-0 up against Heidelberg United. So, that's a very big result, and, it could be disastrous potentially for Dandy City in the circumstances.
Quite possibly the unlikeliest of scorelines based on the two sides' form. Heidelberg with 3 wins on the trot now. Was the one all the way back to Wow. Blumenthal fouled. Was the one now. Hendon. Dixon. So to Lazaridis. Again tries that ball straight to Blumenthal as Dandenong City now prepare their third and final change. And it's Dean Piemonte who's coming on. It's Anthony Poliak who's making way. And as the planes continue to fly by, unfortunately, the correlation with goals has come to an abrupt halt.
Maybe next time one comes over, maybe Danny should just look up and make a wish and hope for something. Not quite a star, but I think a plane heading to Tullamarine Airport is probably in the same kind of ballpark.
Not sure that's exactly how it works, Joel. I think Michael Ware's probably had more touches in this half than Brad Blumenthal, who's playing up top for Hume City. It's been a bit of a strange second half for him. Just a lot of chasing loose balls. But if he does keep making those runs, it's only a matter of time before one pass does actually stick.
Yeah, I mean, you think so, and I think all things considered, it's been probably a bit of a flat half as well. I think Anthony Poliak, the man who's just been subbed off the pitch by Dandy City, probably had the best opening, couldn't quite reach it in the end. But yeah, I guess you can sort of see below. I think that perhaps understandably a bit of urgency has gone out of the Hume City game. I think as we've spoken about a few times, the real challenge for Nick Hegarty and his coaching staff is to really make sure that urgency doesn't drop too far and at least maintain the clean sheet, because 4-0 or 4 goals, I should say, in a game is great, but when you can get the clean sheet, it always makes things look better.
Here's a chance now for Dandenong City. Shayan Alinajad's just snuck his way into the Hume wall. And he's just moved at the last second, and it's not quite paid dividends.
Good effort by Piemonte. Have a go. Why not? Test the palms again of Michael Weir. Hasn't had a whole lot to do, I suppose. So you may as well have a crack as Hume City prepare another change here, and it looks like it's going to be Marko Delic coming onto the pitch, and Brad Blumenthal, his number is about to go up.
A change up top, incoming for Hume City. Speaking of incoming, here comes Hendon, but his pass is cut off, and City now come down the right flank, Dandenong City that is. It's never ideal when the two teams share a nickname.
Yeah, absolutely. City versus City. Oh, United versus United, it's a common one as well. Yeah, never ideal. Commentators, nightmare. Oh, shocker.
And here comes that change. Delic coming on for Blumenthal, who's just heard the news and is understandably quite shattered not to be able to fill his boots, but he's just jogging off ever so slowly, just soaking up the quiet drums coming from from behind the Dandenong goal. Not much atmosphere left because most of the Hume City fans have actually gone inside. I think getting an early Palmer or a kebab.
Yeah, it's getting a little cold, and why not warm yourself up with some great ABD Stadium food, I can tell people that it is very good indeed. I've tried it myself, of course I have. Yeah, look, it's great. But yeah, I mean, the game's certainly hit a bit of a flat spot. I suppose it's to be expected with this scoreline as well. But yeah, good to see the lads behind the goal making a bit of noise and keeping things up and about, so to speak.
For more on that, ladies and gentlemen, just visit Frucci's Foodie blog at wordpress.com. Where Joel goes around the grounds and tries every single NPL stadium's cafe and canteen. Which have you found to be the best so far, Joel? I'll actually come back to you because City could now be in for a consolation. Not a bad effort and a deflected effort ultimately there.
Yeah, well, again, it's just not falling Dandy City's way. I think probably the touch from Sean Filipovic was probably, what didn't do it for them. Just not quite the first, not quite the right first touch. But if it was better, potentially had a small opening.
Header away there from City. Oh, and a good save to his left there by Michael Ware. It's possibly one for the cameras there.
Yeah, possibly. He did what he had to do. First time I've seen Michael Ware flying through the air, but I do just wonder if the ball hadn't have sort of got stuck between Filipovic's feet on that occasion, what might have happened, because he had a little bit of room and probably could even have fired first time, but alas not to be. But yeah, to answer your question, Bilal, probably I found Bentley Greens out at Kingston Heath quite good. Interesting, I'm going out to Eastern Lions actually on Sunday, so interested to see what I'll find there. An English club, so I wonder what they've got. Maybe shepherd's pie or scones or hot dogs or something.
Definitely the pie. Definitely the pie. The English always finding new ways to eat their pies as well. Can't believe we actually went back to that topic. I thought you'd completely forgotten. As I'm sure the viewers at home hoped you had.
Look, I can tell everyone that when it comes to food, I never forget. I always find a way to remember.
Now here comes City. Alinejad free on the far side. The pass did try to reach him, but unsuccessful. And now Brown on this right-hand side. He's got men over. He's got Markellis completely unmarked down the left, but he's just not really giving him much of a look. A couple of times now in the first second half, Hume City have actually managed to get a man over completely unmarked on the left-hand side, but let's keep an eye out for that. As City now Dandenong City try to muster up an attack of their own. Here's Shayan Alinejad. The overlap. Back to Alinejad. Now there's a foul and a bit of afters from Iqbal Jawadi, who's taken that quickly after a bit of a tussle. It's out for a corner now. Decent ball into the middle's cleared, and now a chance for Markellis to start a counter, but nothing doing for him there. Oh, and some afters there on the challenge. Not the cleanest challenge in the world there, Joel.
Yeah, it didn't look like it. It was, it was certainly heavy, but the referee happy to see it off in the end.
Alinejad's ball isn't able to pass the first man, and Hume now have men forward, and here's Brown, one of those men. But he's unable to receive the ball cleanly enough, and is that a handball? No, referee says it's free kick. Always dangerous handling the ball like that, just assuming you'll get the foul, but pay it off there. Now another change being prepared by Hume. We'll bring it to you as soon as we have more information. And here comes Alinejad now. And it's Gideon Sweet, the left back, who's coming on. And I'd assume that'd be a... I actually did assume it'd be a straight swap, but it's actually for James Brown. So Gideon Sweet will either take up a midfield position, or Lazaridis will move into that midfield position that Brown's taking up at the moment. But it will be Gideon Sweet coming on for the attacking midfielder, James Brown. Left back for a centre attacking mid, so not quite the conventional change, Joel, but now Hume have a corner to contend with, and that's got to be a foul on Hewitt. No, referee says play on. That's going to be cleared now by Dixon quite comfortably.
Yeah, well, this change is potentially, well, certainly I think it's another sign that the queue is well and truly gone in the rack, so to speak, from Hume City. It's been a lot more rigid this half. They haven't quite been as adventurous as they were in the first, and I guess we can understand that, you know, given that they did all the hard work in the first half.
Hendon. Now here is Marcellus. Buzdoan. Referee calls a foul against Hume City. And now it is James Brown's time to possibly just get rested, put in the rack, so to speak, for next week, and Gideon Sweet will be returning to the side.
Probably good moves from Nick Hegarty to put guys like James Brown and Harry Monahan in ice in cotton wool for the week at 4-0 up. Next week for Hume City is Port Melbourne, so potentially well, a big opportunity for them to really put more distance between themselves and sort of the trailing half of the table. Port Melbourne currently behind against Melbourne Knights as well.
And here's a chance. That consolation goal still evades Dandenong. Is it a penalty? It is! It may not evade them for much longer. Could be a little too late for a comeback, but it is Dean Piemonte, the substitute, who will take this penalty kick for Dandenong City. A chance to, if nothing else, get a consolation goal.
The way things have gone for Dandy City tonight, I wouldn't be entirely surprised if Michael Weir was to save this.
Quite intimidating when Weir can just go on his tippy toes and punch the roof of the net like that. Piemonte versus Weir. 4-1. And Dandenong City with a consolation. Surely not, Joel, the start of a comeback.
Yeah, well, I can't see it. I mean, I think that's the last time I'll make a prediction. But look, a good penalty from Dean Piemonte. They're nice and calm, composed. And, I mean, I think even though, of course, Hume are well and truly in control and have the 3 points, wrapped up here. That's probably exactly what they would have wanted to avoid. I mean, keep a clean sheet, close things down. That's looked as though it's been the plan for the second half, to really shut up shop and make sure Dandy City can't quite break through. But look, for them, it's important. 5th goal of the season. It's still not much, but it's at least something to show for what's been a very tough night for them.
And they are now winning this second half, so that's something they could take home with them on that long drive to Dandenong. Sweet now, playing on this right-hand side, something not accustomed to seeing from him. Hendon. Again, two names that you don't often call right after each other because they play on opposite flanks normally. Oh, and that could be a penalty for Hume. No, it's a dive. The referee spotted it. Interesting call from the referee there.
Well, I like that the referee backed himself. I think it was difficult for us to see from here whether or not conclusively that was a dive from Theo Markellis, but I admire the fact that the referee backed himself in there and made the tough call. I think we need to see more of that, and I really applaud the referee for actually making that decision. But really, if you think about it, Bill, probably a little bit needless from Theo Markellis as well at 4-1 up to go down like that. I'm not entirely sure it was worth his while. I just hope that yellow card doesn't come back to bite him and Hume at a later stage this season.
And no complaints from Markellis as well, which indicates that it was very much the right decision. So kudos to the referee there. And that cross is going to go all the way to the opposite flank for Alinejad. Oh, it's nicely worked, but Alinejad isn't able to make the most of it.
I hope that penalty and the goal for Dandy City does loosen the purse strings for them a little bit, if you like. They really have struggled to create opportunities tonight, so hopefully when it comes to chances, that kind of opens the floodgates a little bit. I mean, for them, they're in the kind of position where they just really need to go with things and just, really, I hate to use the phrase, but just have a crack. I mean, really, at 4-1 down, there's not much else you can do as time starts to sort of seep away, but at least give themselves something to work with for next week.
Now approximately 10 minutes plus injury time to play. If nothing else, when you are scrapping down the bottom of the table, goal difference becomes very, very important, as Markellis now plays the pass out to Gideon Sweet. Hendon has buzzed the one but ignores him. Hendon still going. A little tug on his shirt and is going to be a free kick. And ultimately, Topalovic is penalised after repeatedly, and a yellow card now. Must have been for dissent. I think it was to Bowler.
Interesting if it was, because his team won the foul, so that's a strange one. But nevertheless, a good position here for Hume City and Hewitt as well. So and Dandy City as well at the other end, of course, want to shut up shop. They wouldn't want to concede any more than 4.
Now Hewitt with a chance to whip it in. It's a good headed clearance. Now Markellis. Hewitt. Sweet. Would want to cut onto that left foot. Back to Hewitt. And Nick Hegarty on the touchline is audibly very frustrated. Not sure exactly what was said there. And Hendon now drives inside. The 1-2 doesn't quite connect. Sweet! Hit that fairly sweetly.
Yeah, decent effort. Great interplay between Bauer and Hendon, and the touch from Bauer there as well was great, just to cushion it back into the path of Will Hendon. It had just the right weight on it. Unfortunately, for Hume City, it didn't quite come off. But it was a very, very nice bit of play, really easy on the eye.
Now it is Sweet. We've got options. Goes to Marcellus. Interestingly enough, will now have to run out the game after just being brought back into the side. And that's a great run. Marcellus free in the middle. So is Sweet, but its loops are very, very kindly for Kennedy to collect. Now here's a chance, but defensive clearance there came from Wilson. So Joel, as we tick down now into the final 10 minutes, where was this game won and lost for you for Hume?
Well, I think it was probably lost for me at the back by Dandy City, and obviously it's easy to say when they're 4-1 down, but they were just too loose too often in the key moments, and Hume were really good at identifying little pockets of space or little openings that weren't quite closed down, and that was evident from the first goal that was scored by, of course, Ben Bowler at the set piece situation. Theo Marcellus just drifted into the near post and flicked on a free header that was saved, of course, by Kyle Kennedy, but it was put away by Bowler on the rebound. So for me, they just weren't tight enough when it counted, and they left themselves a major uphill battle after that.
We've seen other sides show in previous seasons just how crucial it is to be as stingy as possible in the back, as Hendon's fouled their advantage played. Sweet unable to take advantage. The ball, I think, must have trickled out of play, but linesman says play on. Now here's a chance. And the Hume fans behind the goal, very much in great voice, in great spirit.
Bit of a mosh pit back there. Yeah. They're enjoying themselves. That's good. Their team's 4-1 up. Why wouldn't you?
They've got the drums out and everything. And here's a foul. And a yellow card appeared to go to Alinejad. And surely would have gone to Hendon. But it did look like it was in the direction of Alinejad. But no, wouldn't have. Would have been a bizarre case of the side again with the foul. Was that free kick, unfortunately, for Dandenong City comes to nothing.
They're looking a little likely here, Dandy City. They're getting some decent opportunities. That was a good little sider, a flick across goal. Came to nothing in the end, but certainly something for Hume City to think about late in the game, which I think you referenced Nick Hegarty before. Bilal was getting a little bit frustrated on the sideline. And I imagine that might be exactly what it was for. The fact that Hume City have lost a little bit of control of this game, even though quite clearly, and looking at the changes that he's made, the queue is well and truly in the rack, so to speak. But they have lost a bit of a hold on this, and Dandy City have had some chances to get back into the game, or at least a little bit, of course. They did put away that penalty through Dean Piemonte, but they've had some chances elsewhere that they just haven't quite been able to make the most of, which could easily have seen them back to 4-2 even, and at that point, who knows what could happen. They could, a bit of nerves could come through for Hume City. I don't think it would bother them too much, but you never know.
Kennedy had a stray back pass to deal with there, but has done it well. And Delic hasn't quite managed to make anything stick up top for Hume since he's come on, replacing Brad Blumenthal. Hasn't quite staked a claim for a permanent spot in the side. Buzdoan a bit sloppy there, but he's bailed out by Bauer. Now here is Delic. Here's an opportunity for him to stake a name. Or a claim. Oh, Wilson, the challenge on Wilson was heavy. But play on Piemonte. What a teasing ball through the middle, and not sure why, but that's the straw that's broken the camel's back. And an opportunity missed, and the Dandenong City bench is completely infuriated now.
Yeah, some real frustration there, but I think they're right. I heard one of the staffers say there, you've got to be there in that position, and he's right. It was a great ball across the box, and if you're a striker, you've just got to gamble and get into that 6-yard area and really make something of the opportunity. A real missed chance there for Dandy City.
It's been a strange last 15-20 minutes. Dandenong have had all the chances. Yeah, they just haven't looked like they're about to mount a comeback of any sort.
Yeah, no, they haven't. And, I mean, it has been sort of one of those halves. It's kind of just petered along a little bit. But, I mean, yeah, Dandy City, they've had some opportunities, but, I mean, they just haven't really made the most of them. And it's kind of been indicative of their night in a lot of ways. But a lot of things haven't gone right for them. And, yeah, we saw sort of early in the first half as well that some things just didn't quite work out as well when they needed to. That were, you know, a bit reflective of near misses, if you like. But a good chance here for Piemonte. Fresh legs.
Piemonte has been arguably Dandenong's best player since he's come on. It's just passed it there to our.
Yeah, I'm not exactly sure what he was doing there. I mean, it wasn't a shot. Clearly, it was nowhere near powerful enough, and it was to no one in particular. So I'm not really sure you can categorise it as a pass. I don't really know what to call it in the end. It was just kind of a nothing play in the end. Another wasted opportunity.
Now Dandenong City come again. And the crack, and looked good coming off the foot, but then just kept going wide.
Yeah, why not have a go? It's getting late in the game, so you may as well have a try and see if you can change things. I think it was Diogo Ferreira there actually having that attempt on goal, and I think he scored one or two from long range in his time up in the A-League as well at Victory, Brisbane Roar, and Perth Glory. I think I remember one against Wellington Phoenix for Melbourne Victory way back in, I think it may have been 2010 or 2011, so quite a long time ago. Interesting, Bilal, another observation. There is a drone up there actually. We thought we'd seen the end of them, but there is one just hanging about.
I think the message from air traffic control wasn't quite strong enough. Should note that we are just joking about the air traffic control message. No intel here. Oh, and Kennedy there has just made the situation very hard for himself. And Weah now will collect. And 3 minutes of injury time being prepared now by the fourth official. And the pace this game's going at, Joel, I think you could have a run out there, maybe get yourself a goal.
Oh, yeah, I think it could stretch the legs. I think it might take me, plus 3 minutes to actually get warmed up and make sure I don't pull a hamstring, a calf, or, I don't know, a thigh, all these other muscles. But, yeah, I mean, it's kind of just petered out. So, you know, maybe I could get a run around and, you know, make sure I work off the lamb that I'm probably about to eat.
Weah's just left himself in a world of trouble. I think maybe the Hume City players might be thinking about the lamb. That's probably what's going on.
Yeah, I reckon. I think they've looked to have just sort of clocked off a little bit in the past sort of 10 minutes or so, well and truly. That was an interesting one there from Michael Weir, running his luck a little bit. The party tricks have come out. I think if you're a manager, though, you probably never really want to see too many of them.
Yeah, knowing Nick Hegarty, he'll be pulling his hair out, and he's got a lot of it left, which is surprising for a manager. And here's Marcellus, who's chased that ball down. It's probably been their brightest spark in this half, Mark Ellis. This spark dimmed ever so slightly by that dive. And the 3 minutes of injury time have gone up. Thank you for joining us on this NPL Victoria live stream, ladies and gentlemen, across Facebook and YouTube. Your presence is, as always, very, very much welcome. Without you, we'd just be a couple of people talking into a microphone.
Yeah, absolutely, and I can say the same for what I do on my day job as well. So if any of those people that listen to me on a regular basis are watching this broadcast, thanks to you as well.
Now here is Hendon in behind. Chance to cross and out for a corner. Late flurry here from Hume.
Yeah, good to see some late signs, a late attack there. That deflection from Lombardo could have really gone anywhere. Luckily for him, it only went into the side netting. But I think Cole Kennedy probably had it covered anyway. But yeah, maybe one last attack here for the match potentially. This could be all she wrote.
Now Hewitt, quite possibly his last opportunity to whip in a corner. Oh, and it's 5! And it's Paul Wilson who's put the icing on the cake for Hume City.
Well, time kind of just seemed to stand still a bit there, Bilal. I mean, the ball came in and it was a very good ball, it has to be said, but I mean, where was the defending there? It was kind of akin to the first goal that we saw tonight. The Dandy City defence just completely fell asleep, and a free run literally for Paul Wilson there to just waltz into the box and smash that header into the bottom corner. Really disappointing into the game for Dandy City, but a nice little cherry on top for Hume as well to what's been an absolutely dominant performance.
Dandenong City's resurgent second half had a dampener put right through it there. Alinejad. As the clock ticks down. Shayan Alinejad. It's gone on a mazy run, still going past Buzdawan, and Buzdawan is penalised. And Nick Haggard is still not letting up. Piemonte. Oh, it's a nice ball. And that is full time, ladies and gentlemen, here at ABD Stadium. Hume City have marched to a 5-1 victory. 4 of those goals coming in the first half. The 5th coming very, very late in the second. And between them, a penalty for Piemonte. Dandenong City very much outplayed here at ABD Stadium. And I'll leave the final word with you, Joel Ferrucci.
Yeah, well, sorry night for Dandy City, but look, if you're Hume City, you're absolutely delighted. A 5-1 win at home. I mean, you can't. That's absolutely invaluable. And of course, early in the season, it started off as a fairly warm day here in Melbourne, round 6. But if you can win these games early in the season before the cold weather comes around, where you can really start to flex your muscles, so to speak. Every point is invaluable at this part of the season. And yeah, they were brilliant. Really made the most of some sort of sloppy, lacklustre Dandy City defending, and look, the right result in the end. They were the better team in every department.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for joining us here on this NPL Victoria live stream on Facebook and YouTube. We have been Bilal Ali and Joel Ferrucci broadcasting here from ABD Stadium. And until next time, guys, take care of yourselves.